Alright, good morning everybody on YouTube. It's Fruity Chris here. I had already made a video that I said I was gonna make regarding some of the health problems that I've been experiencing. If you saw my last video, I talked about some of the things that I've been doing and where I'm at in my vegan lifestyle. And I said I would be making a video to go over like more specifically some of the health problems that I've been experiencing. And I made that video and I was trying to edit it over the past couple of days to try to make it work, but it's really not going to work. For some reason, the audio quality is absolutely horrible. I'm not sure if it's like that on my last video. I apologize if it really is. I guess in my car, it just picks up a lot of background noise. You can't really hear me. So the next time I make a video in my car, I'll do it with headphones. So I really apologize if the previous video was like that as well. But this video was just beyond repair. It would have taken a lot for me to redo it. So I just decided that I'll just redo this. So I'm just going to give you a brief history of the things that I've been experiencing for the past couple of years, things that I've done, and basically where I'm at now. So as all of you know, I am vegan, so I've been vegan for a couple of years, and I'll kind of explain how that like transcended along with my health issues. So I originally started experiencing some health problems when I was 18 and I was in high school. And at the time, or I guess I was 19. Sorry, I was 19 and I was in high school. And at the time, I was in cross country. I was a runner, and I'm not sure exactly what the issue was. I just started experiencing extreme stomach pain, not abdominal pain, but pain like from my stomach, uh, and it was very extreme. It didn't seem to matter if I ate, not ate. It would happen if I was just sitting in class. It would happen if I was running. It would. It was just very sporadic and extremely painful. And I ended up having to kind of drop out of cross country due to this issue. I wasn't really able to run and practice because every time I would run, I would be in extreme pain. So it was kind of a big problem for me. And after that, I did go to see my doctor, and he didn't know what was wrong with me either. And so he just prescribed me some anti-ulcer medication at the time, and I had to take it for 2 weeks. And he just said, if it helps, then that's great. It was just, I don't know, maybe some extra stomach acid or something like that. He didn't really know. So I did take it, and it did seem to help the problem. I'm not sure it was like 100%, but I was able to carry on a normal day without having extreme pain. So that was great. So I kind of just thought, that problem is resolved. That's kind of going to be the end of it. And then I went to university in the following year. And in the couple of years following that incident, I would have occasional bouts of this extreme stomach pain. And I thought that if the anti-ulcer medication worked, that taking antacids would be more or less the same. So when I had those issues, I would take antacids, and it seemed to, I wouldn't say fix the problem, but it seemed to make it livable. So that was the problems I was experiencing at that time. And then right in and around that, I became vegetarian. I was kind of on and off vegetarian during that time, but then I became full vegetarian about a year and a half after yeah, about a year and a half after the original incident. And then, I was vegetarian for a while. And then I became vegan a couple years later. And at that point, I was vegan for like about a month, but I was kind of going crazy. I was not doing anything sustainably. I didn't know how to be a vegan. I kind of just went cold turkey overnight, and I was eating like a jar of peanut butter a day. Like, I didn't know what to eat. So at that point, I sought out some nutritional advice about, getting like maybe like a meal plan about what should I eat. I wanted to make sure I was going to be healthy and getting everything that I needed. So I went and did that, and the nutritional advice that I got essentially prescribed a very high protein diet. I was eating processed soy products for every meal, and tofu and whatnot. And I absolutely hate that stuff. It's disgusting to me, but I just wanted to follow their advice and make sure that I was healthy. So I did that for a while. And I guess it was okay. I did learn a little bit more about how to be a successful vegan. But then a couple months, let me see, I went vegan in May, and by September, I was experiencing some very extreme problems. Every time I would eat, I would become very nauseous, so I wasn't really able to eat much. I was having a lot of abdominal pain, not stomach pain, but abdominal pain. So it was a little bit below my stomach, and it was very sharp abdominal pain, and I had no idea what was causing it. So at that point, I found raw food, and I kind of played around with that for a little bit, but um, I did stop eating all the processed food at that point. I decided that that was certainly not helping situation, and I went to a bunch of doctors who I had a colonoscopy and an endoscopy done, and they didn't find anything. They were never able to tell me what was causing those problems. The best suggestion was that it may have been an allergy to something, but I continued to have those problems even after I was not eating soy products, and he was just very vague. He said it could be an allergy to a fruit I was eating, because at that point I was eating like a lot of fruits, vegetables, and like quinoa. So I wasn't eating much. Um, so and I had a couple of doctors tell me that was because I was vegan, and after a while I kind of got fed up with that. So about a year after I was vegan, I went back to being vegetarian because I was still having some health issues, and I don't know, I thought it did kind of seem to coincide with being vegan. Maybe they were right. I went back to being vegetarian, not full vegetarian. I would actually only consume dairy products. I wouldn't eat anything with eggs. Um, so I did that for about a year, and I think it was about a year. My timeline might be a little off. I think maybe I was vegan for a little longer than a year. I don't remember. So I went back to being vegetarian for about a year. I don't remember. And my health problems never really. I would still experience some problems periodically. I had a lot of pain in my pelvic area, which I associated with being a woman and thought was just normal. At some points, it was very extreme. It was very difficult for me to function on those days. I would just kind of like, I would exceed the maximum dosage of Tylenol just to be able to get up and function. It was very difficult, and I'd have to have a heating pad, but it was only like 1 or 2 days for a month. So, and I had some other periodic pain, but I didn't look much into that, and I didn't think that that was related to the other health issues that I was having. So I went through that for a couple of years up until about last year this time. So just fast forward, I went back to being vegan after being vegetarian for about a year, and I've been vegan ever since. Um, so at that point last year, I went on vacation and I was still eating vegan, but I came back and I was feeling quite ill. I thought maybe I just caught a bug or something, but it never seemed to go away. I would constantly feel nauseous to my stomach. Um, I was getting some extreme abdominal pain and some pelvic pain. I was getting like a lot of sharp abdominal pain on my lower right side, and I'm not sure what that was related to. It was very extreme, and it was not always around that time of the month. So I went to a doctor and they thought it might be my appendix. So I had that looked at and it wasn't my appendix. And he did say I had an elevated white count, but one doctor said that it was probably related to some sort of infection, and then another doctor told me that that's not necessarily true. So I don't know. It was elevated, but I don't know exactly what that means. So my appendix was fine. Then the doctor said, based on where the pain is coming from, like the primary source of the pain, it's probably related to your reproductive organs. You should follow up with a gynecologist. And I was like, okay, so I did. And I followed up with a gynecologist a couple months later, and he wanted to put me on birth control because he thought it might be something related to hormones. So I did go on that. And what he gave me originally made me very ill. I was sick a lot from taking this pill, but I did just kind of stick it out and take it until my follow-up about 3 or 4 months later. And then he switched me to a different pill because I told him I was just so sick all the time. I'd miss a couple of days of work from being ill to my stomach. And he said at that point, I said, some of the pain is a little bit better, but it's not gone. I still have a lot of abdominal pain and pelvic pain, and I don't know what's it from. And so at that point he said that he needed to do a diagnostic laparoscopic thing. So I was really torn about that. I really didn't want to have surgery. Again, especially considering the last time I had a doctor kind of look around, they came up basically empty-handed. But I did eventually make the decision to do it because I was experiencing some very severe pain at times. And so I did that in January of this year, the end of January, and they found nothing. So I followed up with him about a couple weeks after that, and he told me he doesn't know what's wrong with me and he can't help me, and that I should follow up with a gastroenterologist. And I told him I already have. I've already gone through that entire route, which kind of led me to here. So at that point, I was just feeling very frustrated. I've on and off made dietary changes to try to see if that improves the situation, and it never really seems to make a difference, to be completely honest. If I eat raw or don't eat raw, if I'm juicing, if I'm eating gluten-free, it really doesn't seem to matter. I don't know what's causing the pain. It's kind of all over my abdominal area at this point. It could be in my stomach, my abdominal area, or my pelvic region, and it can be like, it'll bring me to tears. It is extremely painful. So I don't know what the problem is, and I'm kind of really fed up with doctors at this point. And they doing all this stuff and they don't have any answers for me. So that kind of brought me to where I was in my last video, and I was explaining some of the changes that I've been making. But again, like I said, any change I've ever made doesn't really matter. So at this point, like I mentioned in my last video, the next step for me is going to be fasting. So I know there's people out there, especially in the raw food community, that don't support fasting, but this is really not a weight loss thing for me. I need to get some resolution to these problems. So I'm planning to do a 30-day fast, and I'll make another video a little bit more about that later this week. I'll make sure to use my headphones in my car and give you guys a rundown of what I'm going to be doing. But I'm going to start that next weekend, so that'll be coming soon. And I'm going to do probably a daily vlog or every other day vlog about how my fast is going and how things are going with that. So I'm just trying to make this video as short as I can. So that's basically the rundown. And I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. And bye!